is Olivier.
My name is Nathan D. Simmons.
My name is Mallory Miro.
I'm the director of Colonial Park and Mischief.
I played Brooke in Mischief.
I was Alex in Colonial Park.
I'm playing Mish in Mischief.
And I play the role of Afam in Colonial Park.
It was really interesting to bring this piece of theater to Halifax specifically because it's a Halifax story, a Chibuktuk story for Mi'kmaq people.
It's been a total gift to step into this character and discover her and find the meeting place where for her and I, and what we share, where our differences are.
We all have some sort of personal connection to this weird statue and the conversation that swirls around it. So it was very fruitful for me too as a human being and as a playwright and as a Mi'kmaq person to bring this to life in a place that I've called home for so long, which is Neptune.
So obviously with a show like that, there's a lot of big discussions happening in the show. So we're going to have big discussions happen in rehearsals. So a good chunk of the rehearsal process was literally just talking about the characters, talking about the situation surrounding the characters and how that affects not only the characters, but also us as people.
In this production, Miss does believe that she is maybe more educated than her peers as somebody who's young and maybe as somebody who's a woman on the police force. But ultimately, she is somebody who is a result of a colonial upbringing who benefits from a colonized society as a white settler.
Youth need to see this play because there is these people who are in the play they can fully relate to. There's a journalist who is very excited and about his job, and then there's a person who walks by who could probably go to Dalhousie so they can see themselves in these characters.
If I was younger and I had the opportunity to see this, especially see another black man, I'd be like, yo, I want to do what this person's doing, right? And especially a story that I feel like it's going to move a lot of people. You know, it's not like a funny haha, it's an actual serious, thought-provoking play, and I think it's gonna also, the audiences, like especially high school students, are gonna actually appreciate it because we're not dumbing them down or treating them like little children, and I feel like that's gonna, empower people to just be like, oh shoot, I actually want to chase, this dream or follow this artistic passion. I don't know how.
Theater is magic, and it's playing pretend with your friends from when you were a kid, and then you get to do that as an adult person as your job is pretty phenomenal. So it's everything. It's costumes. It's becoming a new person. It's this imaginary state of where we are. It's the set. It's everything that comes together to create something that could possibly be real but isn't. So we get to play with fiction all day, and I think that's the magic of theater.
Right? So I think that was one of the most interesting part for me of not just talking about a fictional situation, but talking about a real thing that has happened and is still happening actually, and really seeing how we deal with that as people and as characters in the play.
Approaching the story about N. Cornwallis from the outside perspective was really fascinating to see what passersby or people who aren't immediately involved in Edward Cornwallis and what their world was like. So that was fascinating because sometimes I forget as a Mi'kmaq person that there are people who don't feel pain from this monument.
My favorite moment in the show is Afam's monologue in Colonial Park when he's speaking about his grandfather, and the imagery really, really, really resonates with me. And it's something that I get to hear right backstage, right in that corner as it's happening, and that's the last thing that's ringing as I get to go on stage, and that really sets me up to have like a really great show following that.
It was a piece where you could really see and feel the character like juggling and battling through the thoughts of like what he wants to say, and also you also could feel the character like getting emotional or bearing his heart without wanting to. So it was a really nice and interesting struggle in there, and also about how Afam, if I could say, is a first generation Canadian, and his family have been directly damaged, if I could say that, because of colonialism.
Having the director and the playwright at the same time in the room is so useful to really hone in on those big questions and just have an open discussion. Most of our first couple of days were just discussions, and I think that's what we're trying to bring to the schools.
It leaves me wishing that when I was young and in school that something like this would have come to my school. And again, growing up outside of Halifax, I didn't often have opportunities to attend live theater, I'm a professional theater maker now, and I would have been so delighted if something this cool and this fresh had come to my school when I was in school. It's awesome to be part of the Neptune TourCo as an emerging artist.
The process in and of itself was thrilling for me because I had no idea I could do something like this. And to be in a room with people who are sensitive and caring and equally invested, you just feel like you elevate in your craft and you elevate in your personhood.